Hey parents, how do we cultivate distress tolerance? What skills do we use to prevent us from weaponizing our own uncomfortable feelings against our kids? Caveat here, I'm not a therapist, and I highly recommend, if you are interested in learning these skills, that you take a course of DBT therapy. It's about 18 months. But I have found the skills I learned in this therapy course that I took along with one of my teens to be incredibly helpful in parenting. And some of these were skills that I had already, but I didn't have a name for them, and I hadn't put them in conjunction with other skills. Dialectical behavior therapy was actually created to help folks with a cluster B personality disorder called borderline personality. But the skills in it are incredibly useful for anyone with anxiety. In fact, it's often prescribed for adolescents with severe anxiety. DBT loves to use acronyms and to break skills down into little digestible chunks that you can access when you're really distressed and your emotions are really high. So DBT states that our mind has kind of three states it can be in. There is the wise mind in the center, where we balance our emotions and our rational thinking. There is the rational mind, where we are kind of shutting down our emotions and we're not accessing them. And then there is emotion mind, and I think this is where a lot of boomer parents live, where the strong feelings of discomfort that come with intense emotions override our rational brain, and they kind of run us. And that can lead to harming others out of our attempt to alleviate our own discomfort, our own distress, and also sabotaging ourselves while we're at it. So DBT teaches us skills to deal with the intense distress that we're feeling so that we don't act based on those emotions, and we try and get ourselves back into wise mind, where our emotions and our rational thinking are in balance with each other, and therefore we can make good, measured decisions. So one of those skill sets are the stop skills. When we are feeling incredibly amped up and we feel like we're going to lash out at our kids because our emotions are so high, we're really triggered, the first thing you do is you stop. You don't react. Whatever you want to do, you don't do it. You just freeze. And then T, you take a step back. O is observe, notice what's going on inside your body and outside of you. When our emotions are really high, we want to act very swiftly in order to protect ourselves, in order to alleviate the discomfort that we're feeling. And the stop skills say, whoa, 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 let's pump the brakes here. Let's not knee-jerk react to something where we may regret what we're doing because our emotions are so high that we cannot think rationally. So the P in this skill set is to proceed mindfully. Try to center ourselves back in our wise mind and act with awareness of everything that is happening, and act with awareness that we are emotionally dysregulated and that our feelings are trying to run the situation. The next skill set is accepts, and I won't break down what all of these are. DBT is an 18-month-long therapy course. Please go take it if you think it would be useful for you. But I will say the S one, sensations, is one that has been really useful for me when I'm really amped up and I don't want to do something that might hurt my kids. It's using your senses to self-soothe so that you can kind of bring your elevated state back down. For me, that often means I step outside and walk around in my garden for a little bit, observing all of the ways that my senses are connecting to what's happening in the garden to kind of bring me out of that escalated state. Great skill set here. Please Google. Another acronym here are the TIP skills. These are for when you are severely escalated and you are basically not functional. You cannot cope with your distress. It is overwhelming you. Dunking your head in a sink of cold water works great. Engaging in intense exercise, go for a run. Do a bunch of push-ups. If you're caring for little kids, put on a dance party and dance like crazy. Focusing on breathing exercises. Engaging in a 5-minute meditation to progressively relax all the muscles in your body, starting with the top of your head all the way down to your toes all the way up to the top of your head. One of the things I love about DBT therapy is that it is skills focused, and so it gives us goals to work towards. It helps us build skillfulness so that we can be more successful. It's very different than talk therapy. It's teaching you coping mechanisms and strategies in order to be more successful and not letting your emotions run you. Helping you gain emotional intelligence and skillfulness so that you are able to center yourself in wise mind and have a healthy balance between your emotions and your rational brain. Allowing you to feel your emotions, not to shut them off, but to feel them and process them in a healthy way. To understand that it's okay to feel discomfort, that feelings are not facts. And to learn skills so that we don't hurt other people in our pursuit of alleviating our own distress. This right here is one of the most important skills we need to learn when it comes to raising our own kids and interacting with our parents. That skill is called distress tolerance. And I learned about it when one of my teens had to do DBT therapy. And the way our health insurance works, if a teen does DBT therapy, their parents need to do it in concert with them. So I did the whole DBT program. And in that program, one of the skills we learn is distress tolerance. That skill is exactly what it sounds like. How much can I tolerate my own distress? How much can I sit in my own uncomfortable feelings and not weaponize them and use them to harm other people? And I think it's a skill that boomers woefully lack. And in general, like, white people in America do not have this skill. This is a learned skill, and I know as a parent it is incredibly important because so often our kids trigger our own issues, our own trauma, and if we have not learned to deal with those feelings of discomfort that arise through the course of normal parenting, then we are going to potentially hurt our children. Which I think is something that we can see, those of us that are Gen X and millennials, in our boomer and silent Gen parents. They did not learn these skills, and therefore when they were uncomfortable, when they experienced distress, they weaponized it against us. They cannot handle feeling bad feelings. Learning that feelings are just that. They're just feelings and they can't hurt you. They don't feel good, but they can't hurt you, I think is such a crucial skill for any parent. That we don't need to let the uncomfortable feelings run us. And that if we do let our uncomfortable feelings run us, if we do let our sadness, our anxiety, our fear, our embarrassment, our jealousy run us, then we are likely to hurt people that we care about or sabotage our own lives. Because I think we see a lot of boomer parents have sabotaged their relationship with their children and they're bitter and upset about it, but they don't have emotional intelligence around this issue. They don't understand that they lack distress tolerance, and they don't understand that the reason that they have hurt their kids is because they have prioritized their own discomfort above the well-being of their children. Learning distress tolerance has been so unbelievably important for me as a parent, but it's also given me a lens to better understand the behavior of my own parents and my in-laws who lack that skill. It's definitely one of the most important tools in my parenting toolbox. It seems like my content has brought up some very big feelings for you, feelings that you don't know how to handle perhaps. And I would take a gander that because you don't know how to handle uncomfortable feelings, you are experiencing a significant amount of distress. You don't like to feel uncomfortable. You want the discomfort to go away. It's very common for people with low distress tolerance and low emotional intelligence to put the burden on other people to manage their feelings. But guess what, babe? It's not my job to alleviate your discomfort. It's not my responsibility to stop making content that I find meaningful because you are uncomfortable. If you have a hard time processing and managing the big feelings that come up for you when you watch my videos, you can do one of two things. You can learn distress tolerance skills so you can manage your big feelings better, or you can stop watching my content. But I guarantee the more you comment, the more you will see my videos in your FYP. Okay, shout out to KB because they always leave fantastic comments on my videos. Really good, thought-provoking things to say. And here they're replying to another commenter who was not happy with some of the things I was saying, and they make such a great point. When we interact with someone's content and we get really defensive, our initial knee-jerk reaction is to be like, what the hell? Absolutely. And like take it personally and get defensive. We need to reflect on why that is. Is there a grain of truth in what they're saying? Do we feel personally called out or attacked? Because in my experience, if somebody posts something and I immediately take offense, I immediately bristle at what they have to say, my body and my emotions are communicating something to me. And rather than responding externally and taking it up with the person who said something we didn't like, I've personally found it's really valuable to sit in that discomfort and try to get to the root of why it is I feel defensive in the first place. There's something there I need to investigate. So distress tolerance is exactly what it sounds like. It's our ability to sit with uncomfortable feelings. It's our ability to tolerate distress in the moment. It's the ability to refrain from acting when we are in a heightened emotional state. It's saying rather than doing something that I might regret later when I am no longer in such an escalated state, I'm going to sit with my discomfort instead of doing literally anything to alleviate it. Resilience, on the other hand, is our bounce back factor. It's about how quickly we recover from an adverse event. When bad things happen to me, when external forces act on me in a way that impacts my health, my well-being, somehow sets me back, how quickly do I recover? How well do I recover and return to my baseline? So distress tolerance skills are ones we employ in the moment when we're in an escalated state. And resilient skills are how well we recover after something has happened to us. Both of them are really crucial skills, I think, to be a healthy and well-adjusted person. A person in community with other people and with strong, healthy relationships. I've got a hot take here, but it's probably not the one you're expecting.
Why people
Let's look
decided
at Madeline's videos.
Let's talk
from the
about
last few
Angela
days.
Davis. White people
See if
decided that it was.
anything stands out
Let's
to
talk
you.
about Angela Davis's history with the Black Panther Party. Okay, this will be my last misinformation addressing. Okay, here's another one. Another
Hang in
misinfo
there with
thing.
me.
I fell into a pit of Democrats this week, and they were trying. Okay, I know I must have really pissed off the Democrats. A few days ago, I
One
went
day's
viral
worth of
for
videos.
posting. So one of my strongest political beliefs. Okay, so this is actually something I think is really. Okay, so TikTok suspended my. Those of you who follow me might remember. So when I make
Okay, now
videos,
hang
my
on.
main.
Okay, fellow white leftists, I have some advice for you, Madeline, for me. It's interesting to me how the topics that I cover on my TikTok often converge, and this is a prime example of that. I know that TikTok as a platform expects rapidity of response. It is a rapid fire platform where an immediate reply video, an immediate reaction, while a topic is hot and trending, will garner you more views and more profit, more attention, increased follower numbers. So Madeline made a video that got some very just criticism. And instead of sitting with that criticism, processing it, the platform encouraged them to make an immediate response. And then the app functioned as it was intended, an explosion of content, comments, responses, response videos, prompting Madeline to continue to churn out videos. And I know I have been guilty of this in the past too. But white leftists, heck, any white people, we as a demographic have very little distress tolerance. We have very little ability to sit with discomfort, to sit with criticism. We have a propensity to get defensive. We cannot handle people thinking ill of us or disagreeing with our opinions. And this platform capitalizes off of that reality. We get escalated, our distress is really high. We don't know how to sit with that distress. And so when we should take time for thoughtful reflection, we just double down. It increasingly escalated as we receive more criticism and feel compelled to defend ourselves immediately. Watching Madeline over the last few days just reinforces for me how much distress tolerance we as white people need. How poorly equipped we are to take criticism, to sit with it, to process it, to respond in a way that builds community instead of shoring up the self. And I felt a lot of empathy for them because I have been guilty of this many times. We have not had to build those skills that people of color and other marginalized groups have had to build, thanks to white supremacy, our white privilege. And I think if we want to engage as leftists and do so with authenticity that promotes community care, that upholds the values we claim to have, we have got to build distress tolerance skills. We have got to learn to feel our discomfort without feeling compelled to be defensive. We've got to be okay with being wrong, with having bad takes, with having simply unnuanced takes. We have to be receptive to the idea that our perspective may not encompass the entirety, every angle, every truth in a concept or conversation. I feel like this drama spiraled real hard. It's happened with a lot of other white creators. The urge to be defensive, to protect the self, our own ego, our need to prioritize our opinions, our inability to handle critique, especially from people of color. Ooh, my eyelashes are back. It didn't need to be this way. Building distress tolerance skills will help us as white people not only handle the reality that we are not the end all and be all and we do not know everything there is to know, but it will also help us learn how to be in community with other people in an authentic way. It certainly will help us be better allies and be more effective change makers.